Hey grade 6s, today we're going to be looking at subtraction explanation, how we explain how to do a subtraction question using procedural writing. And procedural comes from the root word proceed, as to how do you proceed. So it's steps, step-by-step writing. And so the first thing we do is we look at the question. And the question we have as an example is 305 minus 142. So how would you write out the procedure for this using writing and not using numbers? How would you just use it, use your words to explain this? So the first thing I would do is to tell the person to write the 305. So put that down, and notice again we do not put an and in there, so it's just the number 305. The second thing that you would want to do is to write 142 underneath the first number by lining up the ones column and the tens column. This will mean that the 2 will be placed under the 5 and the 4 lines up under the 0 and the 1 under the 3. Step number 3, we want to draw a horizontal line under the bottom number that will separate the question from the answer. Place a minus sign in front of the 142. So over here you see our example, and so far it's been pretty straightforward because we're just writing the question in a way that we can actually do it. But now we're actually going to do the question, and I find it's very helpful when you're doing procedural writing to actually do the example as you are writing it out, so that you see exactly what the steps are. So the first thing you would do is you'd subtract the ones column. So we wrote down subtract the ones column by taking the bottom number from the top number. This means taking 2 numbers from 5. Place the answer under the line in the ones column. So if you do that over here, you've got 5, take 2 away, and you'll end up with your 3, and so we put that down under the bottom there. So now we've answered the first 4. The next step, subtract the tens column. Oh, but see, we have a problem over here because we have nothing in the tens column, so we have to explain that. But since you don't have a large enough number in the top, you'll have to borrow from the hundreds column. Since the hundreds column has 3, you can borrow one of those numbers to help out the tens column. Cross out the 3 and place a 2 above it. So let's do that so far. So you realize that we have to borrow. So we're going to borrow 300 from here and leave that to be 200, and then when we move 100 over, it actually places the 1 here, and you'll see the next explanation. The 1 that we borrowed will now be placed in front of the 0, changing the number from 0 to 10. You now have enough to subtract the tens column, so subtract 4 from 10 and place the number under the horizontal line in the tens column. So now this is viewed as 10, we take 4 away from it, and we end up with 6. And the last step is to subtract the hundreds column. Take 1 from the 2 that we have left in the hundreds column and place your answer underneath the line in the hundreds column. So here we've got 2 left. We've got 2, we take 1 away, and we end up with 1. Now that's our answer there. If you want to double check it, you do step 7. To double check your answer, add your answer to the lower number. You will know your answer is correct if you get the top number of your question as your answer. So here, if we actually wanted to do that, we put a line underneath and put a plus sign there, and we'd add it up. 3 plus 2 gives you 5. 4 plus 6 gives you 10. Carry the 1. 1, 2, 3. And yes, indeed, we get the same number as the top number that we started from. So there's subtracting a question using 305 minus 142 as an example, and we broke it down into 7 steps. It takes a lot to explain things in words, but it's well worthwhile because it gets you thinking about your thinking. How do you actually do it? So we're going to be handing over our questions to some of the grade 3s because they're studying subtracting hundreds right now, and we'll see how well they do. So we want you to write these out, and we'll let you know when we can pass it on to the grade 3s for them to solve. Enjoy!